Chosen one. You are not here by accident. Heaven aligned this moment with precision, drawing you into a word released in perfect timing. Something in the spirit is shifting around you, positioning you at the edge of a supernatural breakthrough, a divine wealth transfer, prepared with your name on it. Anointed One, God is opening your eyes because what you are stepping into carries weight. As Scripture says, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Today, your steps have led you to revelation, protection, and prophetic direction. Open your spirit. What you are about to hear is not information, it is instruction. Chosen one. There are moments in life when something looks perfect on the surface, a door you waited years to open, a connection that feels almost heaven sent, an opportunity that appears to line up flawlessly with your desires. But the Spirit is urging you now, not every open door was opened by God. Some doors were crafted to imitate your prayers, built to pull you off the path heaven established long before you ever knew to pray for guidance. The enemy is not interested in your comfort. He is after your calling. And if he cannot destroy you outright, he will try to nudge you into a counterfeit destiny that drains your power and delays your promise. Anointed One. I know this territory well. There were seasons in my own walk where something looked so right that I convinced myself it had to be divine. The timing was perfect, the emotions were strong, the doors swung wide without resistance, but what looked like favor turned out to be distraction. What felt like destiny was actually a detour dressed in the language of blessing, and I learned something in those valleys. The enemy doesn't just attack with storms, he attacks with agreements. Agreements you make when you're tired, lonely, excited, or eager. Agreements that feel harmless but plant seeds of confusion that slowly, quietly grow into entire seasons of delay. And chosen one, that's why heaven is speaking to you right now with such urgency. God is showing you the trap before you step into it. That is not fear. That is mercy. Just as he whispered to Samuel in the night, just as he pulled Joseph out of temptation in secret moments, he is pulling on your spirit now because you are standing at a sacred checkpoint. This moment was written into your story long before you arrived at it. Heaven scheduled this warning, this awakening, this clarity. Nothing about this is random. You may not fully see it yet, but your steps have been ordered for something greater. Your next decision carries weight, because what is coming next in your life carries weight. You're not on the edge of a small shift, chosen one. You are standing at the threshold of divine release, a supernatural elevation that affects not just you, but your children, your legacy, and the generations that will come after you. That is why the pressure has been heavier lately. That is why your spirit has felt both excited and unsettled at the same time. The combination of expectation and resistance you've been feeling is not coincidence. It is spiritual pressure, and spiritual pressure always intensifies right before breakthrough. I've walked through that tension myself. Before every major shift in my life, before every answered prayer, every unexpected provision, every supernatural opportunity, I felt that same weight. I felt moments of silence, moments where God seemed to stop speaking, moments where I questioned my own discernment. But looking back, I can see what I could not see. Then God wasn't absent. He was positioning me. He wasn't delaying me. He was protecting me. The quiet seasons were never abandonment. They were preparation. Chosen one, hear me. God is not asking you to figure everything out. He is asking you to trust him with a deeper level of surrender than you've walked in before. Sometimes the delay is protection. Sometimes the silence is insulation. Sometimes the closed door is the loudest "I love you" heaven could ever give. I know what it's like to want something so badly that you pray for it, fast for it, imagine your life with it, only to realize later that God was saving you from something you didn't have the insight to see. It stings at first. It hurts your pride. But eventually, your spirit looks back and whispers, "Thank God that didn't work out." You are on the edge of something holy. What God is about to do in your life will not require striving, it will require obedience. This next breakthrough is not earned by effort. It is accessed through alignment. That is why you're being called to pause, to breathe, to weigh your next step with spiritual sensitivity. Because not everything good is God. Not every offer is ordained. Not every opportunity is anointed. And not every delay is denial. Sometimes it is grace. Chosen one. The tension you feel is preparation. Heaven is clearing your path, stripping away what cannot follow you into your next season and drawing you closer to the version of yourself that can carry the weight of what you prayed for. You're being trained to recognize God's voice above your emotions, your desires, and even your expectations. Because what's coming next is greater than you think, and God is protecting that greatness with intention. Chosen one. There comes a moment in every spiritual journey when the noise of life begins to quiet, and what's left is a strange, weighty stillness. It's the kind of stillness that makes you question everything, your timing, your decisions, your strength, even your discernment. But that stillness is not a void. It is a veil. Heaven stands behind that veil, rearranging things you can't yet see, intercepting what was meant to wound you, and preparing what will soon be placed in your hands. Anointed one, I've lived through seasons where everything seemed to stop moving. Opportunities paused. People withdrew. Conversations ended abruptly. Plans fell apart without explanation. At the time, it felt like rejection. But now, looking back through the clarity of hindsight, I realize those were the most divinely protected seasons of my life. God was not taking from me, He was shielding me from deals that would have drained me, relationships that would have broken me, and paths that looked promising but carried spiritual landmines. That same protection is working for you right now. You might not understand why a door closed so quickly, or why someone you trusted suddenly became distant. You may be asking, "Lord, what did I do wrong?" But chosen one, not every distance is punishment. Sometimes God is pulling you out of something before it can pull you down. Sometimes He lets a person walk away so your destiny can walk in. Sometimes He lets the whisper behind your back surface so you can see the truth in someone's heart. This is the mercy of God. The enemy studies patterns, your hopes, your tendencies, your vulnerabilities. And when he can't destroy your purpose, he tries to distract it. He wraps counterfeits in familiar language. He dresses traps in comfort. He times distractions at moments when you are tired or hopeful or emotionally open. That's why discernment is not optional for you in this season, chosen one. It's essential. Because you're not just navigating opportunities, you're navigating destinies. I've learned that discernment sharpens the most in silence. Not in crowded rooms, not in the noise of ambition, but in the quiet moments when heaven whispers and everything else feels still. That's where God speaks with precision. That's where He reveals what your natural eyes can't detect. That's where He lifts the veil from conversations you weren't present for, decisions made without your knowledge, and traps set in the shadows. Chosen one. Heaven is exposing what you were never meant to carry into your next chapter. That uncomfortable gut feeling you've been ignoring, That sudden loss of interest in something you once chased, that shift in your circle that feels confusing but strangely peaceful. That's God. The Holy Spirit doesn't always shout. Sometimes he simply withdraws your desire from the things that no longer align with your destiny. And this refinement, it's not punishment, it's preparation. You are being restructured from the inside out. Your appetite is changing, your standards are rising. Your spirit is growing more selective, and that's because God is elevating you into spaces that require emotional maturity, spiritual clarity, and internal discipline. You can't carry old habits into new territory. You can't carry weak boundaries into divine assignment. You can't carry every voice into a season that demands stillness and focus. Anointed one, hear this in your spirit. You are not being left behind. You are being lifted above. You are being pulled out of what cannot breathe at the altitude you're rising into. This is why you've been feeling disconnected from certain people. This is why places you once loved now feel heavy. This is why conversations that used to excite you now feel shallow. Heaven is rewiring you for the next dimension, and that next dimension will not look like your old life rearranged. It will look like a new life revealed. But before God reveals what's next, he often removes what's now. That subtraction is not loss. It is alignment. It is heaven's way of making room. The pruning you're experiencing is not evidence of death, it's evidence of growth. A tree that bears much fruit is pruned the most. Chosen one. I know it's difficult when God starts pulling things away. I've been through seasons where I held on to people God was trying to release, where I forced opportunities God had already shut down, where I ignored warnings because I didn't want to face the truth. Every time I resisted the pruning, the pain grew deeper. But every time I surrendered, something greater emerged. Surrender is your superpower now. The more you release, the more heaven releases to you. The more you open your hands, the more God fills them. The more you trust the silence, the louder his guidance becomes. Chosen one. This is not just a transition. This is transformation. What God is doing in you is bigger than you think. You're not just being protected, you're being positioned. You're not just being refined, you're being prepared for a supernatural shift that will alter the trajectory of your life. And this shift begins with surrender. Chosen one. As you continue walking through this season of intense spiritual sensitivity, you may have begun noticing something that feels both unsettling and strangely familiar. The quiet wrestling of your own thoughts, the subtle push and pull inside your spirit, the inner questioning that rises whenever you stand at the edge of a decision. This isn't confusion. It isn't instability. It is the ancient tension between faith and feeling, between divine direction and emotional impulse. And every chosen one eventually encounters this inner crossroads, because destiny always demands a deeper level of trust than the previous season required. Anointed one, understand this. Every major turning point in Scripture began with a question. Not a question from God, but a question whispered by the enemy into a human soul. In Eden, the serpent did not use a weapon. He used a sentence. Did God really say? That single whisper has traveled through generations, finding its way into the hearts of every person standing on holy ground. You have heard it too, not through a serpent, but through circumstances, thoughts, desires, and moments of loneliness or urgency. The enemy doesn't need to stop your destiny. He only needs to distort your discernment. And yet, chosen one, what makes you different is not that you face questions. It's that heaven has equipped you with answers. The same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead lives in you, guiding you, convicting you, realigning you each time your emotions try to vote against your purpose. That inner tug of war you feel is not a sign of weakness. It's proof that your spirit is awake. It's proof that heaven has trained you to recognize counterfeits before they become consequences. I've walked through this myself many times. I can remember seasons when opportunities arrived that looked perfect on the surface, timely, attractive, convenient, but something inside me felt off. A quiet tightening, a soft hesitation, a whisper that said, "Look again." At first I ignored those promptings. I assumed they were fear. But after stepping into situations that later unraveled, I learned the difference between anxiety and discernment. Anxiety screams, discernment whispers. Anxiety rushes, discernment pauses. Anxiety confuses, discernment clarifies. And chosen one, you have felt these whispers too. You know that gentle pull in your spirit that asks you to slow down, to breathe, to seek God before stepping forward. This is the divine intelligence within you, your spiritual compass speaking. Before your emotions can make decisions you'll pay for later. The more you honor that inner voice, the louder it becomes. The more you ignore it, the quieter it grows. This is why heaven keeps calling you back to stillness. In a world addicted to urgency, stillness is your secret weapon. In a culture that pressures you to react instantly, stillness becomes your sanctuary. When the Israelites stood at the Red Sea with enemies at their back and waves ahead, God didn't tell them to run. He told them to be still. Not because stillness fixes everything, but because stillness aligns you with the God who can. Chosen one. Stillness is where revelation gathers. It's where clarity forms. It's where your spirit hears what your fear tries to silence. And this is crucial because not every open door is divine. Not every opportunity is safe. Not every connection is sent to bless you. So much of your next breakthrough depends on your ability to distinguish what feels right from what is right. There will always be doors that look like answers, but lead to delay. There will always be people who speak like allies, but carry the spirit of distraction. There will always be moments that seem heaven-sent, but are designed to pull you away from the exact path you prayed to stay on. This is why God keeps you sensitive. It is why He separates you, isolates you, slows you down, and invites you into solitude. He is sharpening your discernment so you will not mistake a trap for a treasure. And anointed one, you must know this, the enemy rarely tempts you with weakness. He tempts you with desire. Eve wasn't tempted with something ugly, she was tempted with something pleasing. Jesus wasn't tempted with things beneath him. He was tempted with things he could easily rationalize. You too will be tempted not by what repulses you, but by what resembles your prayer. Counterfeits always come dressed as promises. This is why spiritual maturity is not only about saying yes to God, it is also about saying no to anything that dilutes your destiny. No to distractions, no to impulses, no to premature connections. No to opportunities that drain more than they give. No to environments that feel good but lead nowhere. No to conversations that lower your vibration. No to desires that grow louder than your purpose. Chosen one, rejecting what looks good is sometimes the highest form of obedience. Because sometimes the hardest part of walking in purpose isn't choosing the right path. It's refusing the almost right one. You have been feeling this tension lately, haven't you? That sense that something is shifting, that the stakes feel higher, that the choices you make now carry more spiritual weight than before. This is because you are not just making decisions for today, you are shaping decades. What you say yes to now will echo into your future, your family, your legacy. But hear this truth. God is not asking you to carry this alone. He is not asking you to be perfect. He is asking you to be perceptive. He is not requiring you to know every step, just to trust the next one. He is not demanding speed. He is cultivating surrender, and surrender is where power flows. When you surrender your timeline, heaven accelerates it. When you surrender your understanding, heaven expands it. When you surrender your plans, heaven replaces them with destiny. This is why the silence has been so heavy. This is why the waiting has felt sacred. This is why your spirit has been restless. Heaven has been working while you have been wondering. There are conversations happening in rooms your feet have not entered yet. There are decisions being made that will shift in your favor. There are assignments being rearranged because your name is on them. The trap the enemy set is being dismantled piece by piece. The door the enemy tried to close is being reinforced by angels. The confusion he tried to send is being turned into clarity. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not wandering. You are being positioned, or chosen one. The tension you feel is not a sign that something is wrong. It is confirmation that something is coming, something holy, something heavy, something heaven designed. Hold your peace. Hold your posture, hold your discernment. You are closer than you think. Chosen one. As you continue walking through this season of divine refinement, you must understand the weight of what is unfolding behind the scenes. Heaven is not simply protecting you. Heaven is positioning you. The shifts you felt, the silence, the distance, the unexpected endings, none of it is random. It is all part of a supernatural rearrangement meant to prepare you for the breaking open of your next season. Anointed one. There is a spiritual truth many overlook before God launches someone into their destiny. He separates them from anything that could sabotage the blessing. That separation can feel harsh. It can feel abrupt. It can feel like abandonment. But in reality, heaven is removing you from the reach of traps you didn't even know existed. Some betrayals never reached you because God stopped them before they left the hand. Some conversations were shut down before they could wound your spirit. Some connections dissolved because their presence would have poisoned your path. And yet you wondered why people disappeared. You wondered why a friendship grew cold. You wondered why someone stopped showing up for you. Chosen one, heaven saw what you couldn't. God heard the whispers you never heard. He saw the intentions behind the smile and the motives behind the generosity. He saw the jealousy behind the compliment and the envy tucked behind the support. He saw the private conversations where your name was mishandled, misused, misunderstood. And because he loves you too deeply to let your destiny get contaminated, he intervened, quietly, strategically, completely. There were nights you cried over what left, not realizing God was preserving what would come. There were moments you mourned the end of something that felt right, not knowing God was making room for what was aligned. Some doors didn't close because you failed. Those doors closed because God's mercy arrived before the disaster could. Chosen one. This is why your spirit has been feeling the shift so intensely. Everything familiar is changing. Your appetite is changing. Your desires are changing. Even your thoughts are changing. You don't crave the same conversations. You don't feel at home in the places you once loved. You no longer desire the distractions you once tolerated. That's not disappointment, that's divine detox. The Holy Spirit is cleansing your environment, your relationships, your mind, and even your emotional patterns. He is stripping away the residue of old seasons so you can walk into your next one with a clear spirit and a steady soul. You are being prepared for elevation, and elevation always demands separation. You cannot rise while dragging dead weight. You cannot expand while surrounded by those who benefit from your stagnation. I've been in these seasons myself, where everything within me felt like it was being pulled apart. I remember feeling disoriented, wondering why God was asking me to walk away from things that weren't wrong. But later, I learned something crucial. Not everything that is good is godly for your assignment. Not every opportunity is divine. Not every connection is destiny. And not every familiar thing belongs in your future. Chosen one. Some of the people who applauded you were assigned to monitor you, not to support you. Some who claimed to love your calling loved the benefits of being close to you, but not the responsibility of honoring your purpose. God had to reveal this, not to hurt you, but to free you. Because for where He is about to take you, you cannot afford distracted loyalty, counterfeit support, or half-hearted partnerships. This next season requires purity, purity of vision, purity of intention, purity of circle. God is removing what harms you so He can release what helps you. You are being aligned with destiny partners, people who will protect your anointing, honor your calling, and elevate your purpose. These are the ones who won't drain your oil, but will guard your well. They will not compete with your growth, they will contribute to it. But before these divine alignments arrive, heaven must empty your hands of what has been weighing you down. That's why you're experiencing this sacred subtraction. Not because you are losing, but because you are being cleared for abundance. Chosen one. What is coming next is too holy to be surrounded by chaos. Too precious to be shared with just anyone, too powerful to be placed in the wrong environment. Heaven is creating a circle of clarity around you because the next season of your life will require full obedience, full discernment, and full sensitivity to God's voice. You are being prepared for a supernatural promotion, a shift with such weight that the old version of you could not carry it. God is shaping you into someone who can sustain what He is about to release, financially, spiritually, emotionally, and purposefully. You are not being isolated. You are being elevated. Chosen one. As you continue walking through this season of holy transition, you must begin to see the pressure around you through spiritual eyes. This pressure is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that something is being formed. Heaven is shaping you for a blessing that your current version cannot yet carry. And whenever God prepares someone for elevation, He first strengthens the inner vessel that will have to sustain that elevation. Anointed one. I know the weight of this season. I have lived through moments where everything in my life felt tight, unclear, and strangely heavy. Times where I prayed for answers but received silence instead. Times where my heart longed for forward movement, yet all I felt was spiritual resistance. During those seasons, I questioned myself, questioned my timing, questioned whether I had missed God somehow. But now I can look back and understand what my anxious mind could not comprehend. Then God was not punishing me. He was conditioning me. The pressure you feel is purposeful. It is not here to break you. It is here to build capacity inside you. Because the truth is this: you cannot pour from a weak vessel, and you cannot carry supernatural blessing with fragile foundations. God strengthens you privately so He can trust you publicly. He refines you quietly so He can release you boldly. And chosen one, you are in the refining fire right now. Not a fire meant to consume you, but a fire meant to clarify you. Your motives are being purified, your discernment is being sharpened, your emotions are being stabilized, your identity is being reinforced. Heaven is removing every faulty structure in your thinking so that when the blessing comes, you won't sabotage it with old wounds, old patterns, or old fears. This is the sacred tension of becoming the space between who you were and who you are called to be. It often feels uncomfortable, almost like your life is shrinking, but what appears as shrinking is actually focusing. God is narrowing your path because He is expanding your influence. He is reducing your distractions so He can increase your authority. He is stripping away excess so He can pour out abundance. And yes, it feels tight. Yes, it feels quiet. Yes, it feels like you are waiting longer than you expected. But chosen one, do not mistake the silence for absence. God is not ignoring you. He is editing your storyline with surgical precision. He is removing everything that would have harmed your future so He can place you exactly where you belong. I've learned something powerful through my own seasons of delay. Silence is often the sound of God building. When God stops speaking, He is usually restructuring. When He closes a door, He's usually opening a better one behind the scenes. When He slows your steps, it's because the timing of your next season hasn't fully aligned yet. Chosen one, you are not waiting for nothing. You are waiting because heaven is aligning something big, something weighty, something you could not have handled a year ago. God is preparing you for a shift that requires emotional stability, spiritual maturity, and unwavering obedience. This is why the Holy Spirit keeps drawing you inward, away from noise, away from careless decisions, away from impulsive moves. Because one misstep in this season could delay what heaven has prepared for you. One wrong agreement could drain years of progress. One emotional reaction could redirect you away from the door God is trying to open. You are not at a random turning point. You are standing at a destiny threshold. This is the moment where your decisions matter more than ever. This is the moment where your posture determines the promise. This is the moment where your surrender becomes the key to your supernatural release. Chosen one. The pressure you feel is the sign that heaven is closer than it has ever been. You are on the edge of a sudden shift, an unexpected breakthrough, a supernatural promotion that will make sense of everything you endured. The weight, the stretching, the waiting, it is all preparing you for a blessing that will not break you, but build you. You are not being pressed down, you are being positioned. Chosen one, as you move further into this sacred transformation, you must understand that what you are experiencing now is not isolation, it is insulation. Heaven has placed a covering around your life because the next phase of your journey requires a level of protection you didn't need before. You are stepping into deeper waters, higher realms, greater responsibility, and greater spiritual authority. And with that elevation comes the necessity of separation. Anointed one, you may have noticed in this season that certain conversations no longer feel right, certain people no longer carry the same place in your spirit, and certain environments no longer bring you peace. This isn't coincidence. This is God recalibrating your inner compass. Your spirit is beginning to detect what your mind used to overlook. You are becoming sensitive to misalignment, sensitive to spiritual noise, sensitive to anything that threatens your anointing, and that sensitivity is a gift. There was a time in my own life when I stayed connected to people out of loyalty, not discernment. I stayed in places because they were familiar, not because they were healthy. I held on to patterns because they felt normal, even though they were slowly draining my fire. Every time God whispered, "Let go," I hesitated. Not because I didn't trust Him, but because I didn't trust myself to stand alone. But the moment I obeyed, everything shifted. My clarity sharpened, my discernment awakened, my spirit strengthened. God revealed things I could not have seen had I remained surrounded by noise. That quiet separation became the very doorway into my next season. Chosen one, that is exactly where you are right now. You are in the sacred hallway between seasons, the place where silence speaks louder than sound. The place where old relationships fade so new divine connections can enter. The place where God strips away distractions so he can reveal direction. The place where heaven whispers instructions too sensitive for crowded rooms. You may feel alone, but you are being guided. You may feel stripped, but you are being secured. You may feel separated, but you are being singled out for purpose. Understand this: when God prepares to elevate someone, he removes every voice that would pull them backward. He removes every influence that would feed fear or create doubt. He removes every attachment that was comfortable but not covenant. And though it feels like loss, it is actually provision. God is clearing the atmosphere around you so he can speak to you without interference. Anointed one. This is why your spirit feels different. You no longer have the tolerance you once had. Your soul instantly senses hidden motives. You can feel the difference between people who love you and people who benefit from you. This clarity is not arrogance, it is growth. It is heaven maturing your discernment so you don't waste your next season on the wrong people or the wrong places. Because what's coming next is too valuable to be mishandled. God is aligning you for supernatural opportunity. A shift that requires clean hands, a clear heart, and a focused mind. A blessing that demands stewardship, not confusion. A breakthrough that cannot be shared with everyone who stood around you in your previous chapter. This is why God is pruning you. This is why people are being repositioned. This is why your desires are changing. This is why your spirit keeps nudging you to step back, stay quiet, and observe. Heaven is giving you a new spiritual filter, one that protects the purity of your purpose. And chosen one, you must trust this process. You must trust the distance. You must trust the discomfort. You must trust that God removes nothing without replacing it with something better, stronger, and more aligned. You are being stripped so you can be strengthened. You are being quieted so you can hear God clearly. You are being separated so you can be sent. What God is building around you is sacred. What God is birthing in you is rare. And what God is preparing ahead of you is worth every ounce of surrender required now. Chosen one, as you walk deeper into this unfolding season, heaven is not only purifying your surroundings, it is also awakening your internal world. You may not fully see it yet, but something inside you has been shifting. You think differently, you react differently, you discern differently, and this is not accidental. This is transformation at the soul level. God is not just protecting your path, he is maturing your spirit so you can walk that path with authority, clarity, and spiritual precision. Anointed one. You've noticed it, the old version of you no longer fits. The conversations that once entertained you now drain you. The activities that once distracted you now feel empty. Even the emotions that once controlled you now feel foreign. This is heaven upgrading your internal operating system. God is pulling you out of emotional cycles and mental loops that used to trap you. He is silencing insecurities that once defined you. He is breaking patterns that once delayed you. What you feel is not confusion, it is recalibration. I've been through this kind of recalibration myself. There were seasons where I found myself crying over things I didn't understand, feeling exhausted for no physical reason, longing for solitude even when surrounded by people. I later discovered these were not emotional breakdowns. They were spiritual breakthroughs in disguise. God was detoxing me, removing the residue of past wounds, past expectations, past identities, and it took time for my spirit to adjust to who I was becoming. Chosen one, you are going through that same holy recalibration. Heaven is stripping your soul of what no longer belongs. The heaviness you sometimes feel isn't depression, it's the weight of spiritual transition. The sudden desire for silence isn't isolation, it's your spirit longing for divine instruction. The loss of interest in superficial conversations isn't rudeness, it's the awakening of your deeper purpose. You are being prepared to carry revelation, not noise, purpose, not pressure, wisdom, not wounds. This is why your emotions feel sharper, why your instincts feel louder, why your discernment feels more urgent. God is strengthening the inner muscles required for your next assignment. This next chapter will demand spiritual sensitivity, mental discipline, and emotional maturity. And heaven refuses to let you enter it carrying the fragility of old seasons. Anointed one, hear this clearly, your spirit is growing faster than your environment, and that disconnect can feel disorienting. You may feel like you've outgrown certain friendships, even if nothing bad happened. You may feel pulled away from familiar places, even if you can't explain why. Your heart may feel unsettled around people you used to trust. That is spiritual awareness waking up inside you. It is heaven saying this no longer feeds where you are going. And though these changes may feel uncomfortable, they are necessary. Your destiny requires a wiser, stronger, cleaner version of you than the one that began this journey. You are stepping into responsibility that requires emotional clarity. You are entering a season of blessing that requires spiritual discipline. You are being positioned for doors that require a stable soul to walk through. This is why God is addressing your internal world so intensely. He is healing wounds you never talked about. He is breaking attachments you didn't realize were unhealthy. He is uprooting beliefs that limited your worth. He is removing the voices that shaped your identity incorrectly. Every layer being peeled back is part of your preparation. Chosen. One transformation often feels like loss before it feels like liberation. Letting go of old identities, old connections, old versions of yourself can feel like grief. But what you're grieving is not your future, it's your former self. The version of you that was necessary for your survival but cannot remain for your revival. And God is so committed to your destiny that He will not let you carry old wounds into new blessings. He will not let you drag old thinking into supernatural opportunity. He will not let you enter a new season dressed in the garments of old pain. This is why your heart feels tender. This is why your emotions feel stretched. This is why your spirit feels raw and open. You are being made new. You are being reformed from the inside out. You are becoming the vessel your calling requires. Anointed one, don't rush this internal reconstruction. Don't fight what is being removed. Don't fear what is changing. What feels like unraveling is actually strengthening. What feels like instability is actually restructuring. What feels like breaking is actually becoming. God is building a version of you that can withstand elevation without collapsing influence, without losing humility and abundance, without losing focus. He is preparing you spiritually, emotionally, and mentally because what's coming next will stretch you in ways you cannot yet imagine, but it will also bless you in ways you never thought possible. Chosen one, trust this becoming. It is holy, it is divine, it is necessary. Chosen one, as this transformation continues, heaven is not only reshaping who you are, it is also reshaping what surrounds you. You may have noticed recently that certain places, habits, and even long-held desires no longer feel aligned. This is not coincidence. This is divine strategy. God is not just preparing you internally, He is rearranging the external environment required for your elevation. Anointed one, when God gets ready to release a blessing that carries weight, He begins by cleansing the atmosphere around His chosen. Suddenly, invitations that once excited you now feel draining. Conversations that once pulled you in now feel shallow. People you thought would journey with you begin to drift without conflict or explanation. This is not rejection, it is refinement. God is removing distractions that could sabotage your next chapter. I've walked through this myself. There were times I didn't understand why people I admired suddenly kept their distance, why certain opportunities mysteriously collapsed, or why routines that once brought comfort began to feel heavy. I questioned myself. I wondered if I had done something wrong. But later, I realized something profound. God was clearing the stage. He was creating space for what was coming. And if the old remained, the new would have had no room to land. Chosen one. The same sacred clearing is happening for you right now. What feels like loss is actually preparation. What feels like confusion is actually realignment. What feels like loneliness is actually consecration. Heaven is pulling you into an environment where your spirit can breathe, grow, and rise without contamination. You may feel the tension of being in between, no longer who you were, yet not fully walking in who you're becoming. This in-between space is holy ground. It is the womb of destiny, the quiet corridor where God reshapes your identity and your surroundings before unveiling the next assignment. Many abandon the journey here because it feels unfamiliar, but chosen one. This is the passageway every anointed soul must walk through before promotion. Anointed one. The reason this shifting feels so heavy is because what you carry is heavy. Your purpose is not small, your calling is not casual, and your assignment is not ordinary. That is why the pruning is deep. God is not letting anything unworthy cling to you. You are being prepared to step into a blessing that demands purity of intention, clarity of thought, and strength of spirit. And hear this carefully, God is not just removing people, He is preparing to send new ones. People who will not just like you, but understand you. People who will not drain you, but cover you. People who will not compete with you, but collaborate with you. People who carry spiritual maturity, emotional stability, and divine alignment. Destiny partners, purpose protectors. People who recognize your calling not as a threat, but as an assignment. The connections coming into your life will not bring confusion, they will bring clarity. They will feel peaceful, not performative. They will feel steady, not chaotic. They will feel like home, not like a battlefield. Heaven is orchestrating relationships that match your growth, your purpose, and your spiritual stature. And as this shift unfolds, you will also notice an awakening inside your heart, a readiness you cannot fully explain, a sense that something is breaking open, a sense that the next chapter is not simply approaching, it is already rumbling in the unseen. This is the signal that your atmosphere has reached spiritual readiness. God does not elevate anyone into chaos. He elevates them into prepared space. Chosen one, don't fear the unknown. The unknown is simply the place God has already walked ahead of you. Don't mourn what left. What left you could not carry you where you are going. Don't cling to what is fading. What is fading has fulfilled its assignment. Release it with gratitude. You are standing in a divine transition where heaven is shaping both the vessel and the environment. The inner work and the outer work are happening together. And when the alignment is complete, when your spirit and your surroundings match the magnitude of your calling, the release will be sudden, supernatural, unstoppable. Anointed One. This is not the end of something familiar. This is the beginning of something holy. Chosen One. As you move further into this divine unfolding, you may begin to sense something stirring deep beneath the surface of your daily life. A quiet shift, a spiritual trembling, a subtle but unmistakable awareness that heaven is rearranging everything around you with intentional precision. The atmosphere of your life is changing even before your eyes see the evidence. You are walking through the kind of transition that doesn't announce itself with noise, but with knowing. Anointed One. This is the stage of destiny where God works most silently. He doesn't shout, He doesn't warn, He doesn't explain. He simply positions, separates, redirects, and realigns, often without giving you advance notice. And while this may feel uncomfortable, it is one of the clearest signs that you are crossing from one spiritual dimension into another. In the early stages of my own transformation, I didn't understand this silence. It felt like abandonment at first. I wondered why doors suddenly closed, why familiar faces faded, why the path ahead seemed unclear. But over time, I realized something profound. Silence is not the absence of God. Silence is the strategy of God. When heaven prepares to elevate you, it often hides, you quiets, you blinds your enemies and softens your spirit, so you are ready to move when the command finally comes. Chosen One. The silence around you is not punishment. It is protection. It is preparation. It is the holy pause before a supernatural shift. You may feel like everything around you has slowed down, but spiritually, everything is accelerating. Heaven is not waiting, it is working. Things are moving on your behalf that you have no awareness of. People are being removed from positions they were never meant to hold in your life. Assignments that used to drain you are being cut off. Opportunities that were not aligned with your future are being shut down before they reach your hands. You are being spared from mistakes you don't even know you were about to make. Destiny often looks like delay until God reveals what He was protecting you from. And Chosen One. The protection of God is often disguised as frustration. The setback you experience wasn't sabotage, it was salvation. The relationship that collapsed wasn't rejection, it was redirection. The job that slipped through your fingers wasn't loss, it was liberation. You are being excavated from every environment, mindset, and connection that cannot support the weight of your next level. This is why the pruning feels so deep. You are not being cut back, you are being carved into purpose. Anointed One. Something else is happening too. Your spiritual discernment is increasing at a pace that surprises even you. You are noticing things you used to overlook. You are sensing motives behind words, intentions beneath actions, and spiritual energy behind smiles. This is not paranoia. This is perception. Heaven is teaching you how to see beyond the surface so you can navigate your destiny without falling into unnecessary traps. And with this heightened awareness comes another shift, a change in appetite. What once entertained you now drains you. What once satisfied you now feels shallow. The environments where you once felt comfortable now feel small. That discomfort is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It's proof that your spirit is outgrowing places your body still occupies. You are becoming too large for rooms built for the old you. Chosen One. This is the moment where many people try to shrink themselves back into familiarity, but you cannot afford to do that. You cannot return to who you were when heaven is pulling you toward who you are becoming. The stretching you feel is divine. The restlessness is prophetic. You are not being pushed into discomfort. You are being pulled into destiny, and destiny requires discomfort. Because no one arrives at their calling through convenience. Every elevation demands expansion. Every breakthrough demands breaking. Every new chapter demands the death of an old one. And you, chosen one, are in the middle of a spiritual rebirth. You may not see the full picture yet, but you feel the pull. You feel the urgency. You feel the holy discontent that tells you life cannot remain the same. That sensation is heaven's announcement that the old season has expired. You are no longer tied to what once limited you. You are no longer bound to cycles that held you captive. You are no longer who you were, even if you haven't fully stepped into who you will be. And now, in this sacred in-between, heaven is shaping you with masterful care. You are learning patience. You are learning silence. You are learning to pause before making decisions. You are learning to let God speak before your emotions do. You are learning that discernment is not a moment, it's a lifestyle. Chosen one, hear this clearly. You are on the verge of a breakthrough that will require all of this spiritual training. You are on the edge of opportunities heaven reserved specifically for you. You're walking toward doors that will open not because of your effort, but because of your alignment. And when the moment comes when God whispers, now everything that felt heavy will make sense. Every delay will reveal purpose. Every separation will reveal protection. Every silence will reveal strategy. Chosen one, stand firm. Stay sensitive. Stay surrendered. You are not waiting. You are being positioned, and heaven is closer than you think. Chosen one. As you stand in this sacred space between where you were and where God is taking you, there is a final truth. Heaven needs you to understand. You are stepping into a season where your obedience, your discernment, and your alignment will speak louder than anything you could ever say with your mouth. This next chapter is not about louder prayers. It is about deeper posture, not about doing more, but about becoming more. Anointed one, you have already sensed it. The atmosphere around your life feels different. Conversations feel heavier. Decisions feel more spiritual than logical. Even your thoughts feel watched over, guided, corrected, and refined. This is because heaven has placed you under divine surveillance. You're being prepared like a vessel that must be strong enough to carry something weighty, sacred, and supernatural. What is coming requires stability. It requires clarity. It requires maturity. Heaven cannot pour oil into a shaky container, and you, chosen one, are being stabilized from the inside out. Every hesitation, every delay, every quiet moment of reflection has been shaping you, sanding you, stretching you, and strengthening you for the glory that is about to rest on your life. This is why the warfare intensified. This is why the pressure increased. The enemy does not attack empty vessels. The weight you felt was the weight of what you carry. You have been entrusted with spiritual responsibility, generational transformation, and a divine assignment that will echo through time. Heaven is not only investing in your present, it is securing your future. Chosen one, you are stepping into a season where your spirit will lead in ways your mind cannot fully comprehend. You will feel nudges, warnings, confirmations, and divine instructions with unusual clarity. You will know what to avoid before danger appears. You will know who to step toward and who to step away from. You will see through false intentions with ease. You will sense heaven's direction even when the path looks impossible. And here is the truth. Heaven wants you to hold tightly. You will not miss what God meant for you. You cannot fail a destiny that was written before you had breath. You cannot lose what heaven has preserved. What is aligned with your purpose will flow to you like water toward gravity. What is not meant for you will fall away no matter how tightly you try to hold it. This is the protection of the anointed. Anointed one, trust the divine flow. Trust the openings. Trust the closings. Trust the redirections that make no earthly sense. Trust the timing that feels slower than your expectations, but faster than your understanding. You are not being disciplined, you are being prepared. And now, as this section draws to its quiet conclusion, feel this settle into your spirit. You are ready. Not perfect, not fully certain, but ready in the way heaven prepares its chosen through fire, through stillness, through stretching, and through divine orchestration. Chosen one, you have survived the wilderness. You have passed the test. You have been refined for revelation. What comes next will not be a whisper. It will be a divine unveiling. Chosen one, as this word comes to a close, let your spirit remain open, steady, and deeply aware of what heaven has begun in you today. This moment was not random. It was alignment. It was divine timing. You have stepped into a kairos moment, a holy intersection where preparation meets prophecy and heaven releases what the earth tried to delay. Anointed one, hear this with the weight it carries. The shift has already started. The supernatural transfer is not coming, it has begun. What God has spoken over your life is setting itself in motion, rearranging circumstances, softening hearts, opening doors, and positioning resources. You are not waiting for breakthrough. Breakthrough is waiting for you to take the next obedient step. So walk forward with clarity, stand firm with courage, hold your peace with reverence. Heaven is not testing you, heaven is trusting you. You are being ushered into a chapter crafted by the hand of God, and nothing formed against you will rewrite what He has already authored. Chosen one, I speak strength over your spirit, stillness over your mind, and holy fire over your assignment. May discernment rise within you, may gratitude anchor you, and may favor surround you like a shield. You are covered, you are guided, you are equipped for everything that is about to unfold. If this message resonated in your spirit, you may write, I receive it as a declaration of faith. Thank you for sharing this sacred moment with me. Stay aligned, stay surrendered. What is coming next will confirm everything God whispered to you today. Your divine turning point is already in motion.